So before I got my first role as a designer, I went through more than 30 rounds of interviews before accepting an offer that truly aligns with what I was looking for. Welcome to my channel, my name is Viro and I'm currently working as an associate product designer based in Sydney. In this video, I'm going to share a bit of my interview experience, the questions I asked during an interview, and a few questions that I wish I had asked so that I could understand the company's value better and whether it aligns with what I was looking for. And I hope that you can take these questions as a source of inspiration and find what is ideal for you. Now, firstly, have a think of what matters to you. And when I was looking for a design role, these are the most important factors for me to consider. So team culture, the work environment, career progression, and lastly, salary. Before we go through the nitty-gritty bits, I think it's best if we talk through a bit of a typical product design interview process that I've experienced in the past. So the first stage is usually the initial phone interview with the talent acquisition team. So this could be a recruiter as well. But stage two is usually a video interview with the hiring manager. So this is the person that you'll be reporting to. And in this case, you might be presenting your portfolio as well. And the third stage is the take-home design challenge. Once you've completed your design challenge, this is where you present back the design challenge to the hiring manager, and it could also follow up by a bit of Q&A as well. And the final stage is usually the values and the culture interview with the relevant executive leadership team members. Keep in mind that not every company has the exact same process, but these are the most common interview process that I've experienced. Before I go on an interview, I usually try to do my due diligence by researching on the company online. So this is where I would check their website, I would check their career page and see what's the general vibe that I'm getting. And I also try to check their LinkedIn. I look for the people in a similar role and get a feel of their work. If salary is an important factor, I would definitely check out Glassdoor to see the salary range that I should be expecting. The first stage is the phone interview with the recruiter. During a phone interview, it's relatively straightforward. The recruiter is usually trying to get a feel of your experience and see if you're fit for the role. This process is sort of both ways, meaning that it is also for the candidate, which is yourself, to get a feel if this is the right fit for you. This is the time to ask all the deal breakers that you may have so that you're not wasting each other's time. So usually I would ask about, what is the company's work policy like? Is it in person, remote, or is it flexible? And if salary is important to you, I think it's important that we ask this upfront. What is the salary range that you should be expecting for this type of role? And whether if there's any perks and benefits that is added into it as well. One question that I find really helpful is what made this role available to the market? So with this question, you can get a feel of what is being expected out of you. Is there an untapped opportunity that requires a new designer? Or is it because someone left and there's a skill gap in the team that needs to be filled? Overall, from my experience, asking a question like what are the skills or experience needed for this role are usually not that helpful because it's likely to be in the job description already. And the typical response that I usually get is it would go something like, oh, we're looking for someone at a mid-weight level with 2 to 3 years experience. And if you're a junior, it could be very disheartening to hear and it feels like you're not qualified for the role. But my tip here is to don't rule yourself out. You do your best and show what you're capable of. If you made it through the next round, congratulations. To get the best out of my time with the hiring manager, I try to focus on asking questions that are more design related, such as the design value, the culture, or the growth opportunity that comes with this role. The first questions is relatively simple, but often it allows me to weed out the good design team from the bad design. What does the design process at company A look like? And based on the response, you can kind of tell what is being prioritized. Are you just there to push pixels and being dictated by the product managers, or are you actually there to conduct research and then design the solution? Personally, I would look for a company that understand the true value of design and how it plays a role in a company. The second question I ask is, what are some of the problem space that I'll be working on? At this point, your hiring manager might not have the answer yet, but if they do, it's good to get a feel of what kind of problems that you could be facing. It also allows you to gauge if the product would be in your interest. Now, the final questions that I usually ask is who makes the decision with the product strategy and roadmap? Does the design team play a role in whether they collaborate with the PM on that? Ideally, I would love to see an environment where they foster the relationship between the two roles. If you receive an offer, congratulations. This is really difficult. I totally understand. I was just there a year ago. And when I received the offer that I was excited for, I completely lost my mind and I forgot everything that I was prepared for. And so in this case, ideally, it would be best to have another call with the hiring manager and to clarify everything that you haven't had the chance to ask yet. The ideal questions that I would ask would be, what can we do to make sure that I succeed in this role? And what are the opportunities that may comes with this role? So when I reflect back on my offer experience, a question that always comes into my mind was, at what point is my salary compared to the role salary band? And most company has a salary band for different types of roles, so it'd be really helpful to figure out how much more work that needs to be done before progressing to the next level. The questions that I've categorized doesn't mean that it is only meant for that particular person. It's totally flexible, so it's up to you to read the room and ask what feels right for you. And one final thing to keep in mind is to actually ask what you're genuinely interested about, because the questions you ask is a reflection of what is important to you. Now, thank you for listening, and if you're interested in my journey as a product designer, please feel free to tag along as I share more about it. Bye!